Hello everyone, I'm Sarah Sweats-Wong and this is my assessment philosophy statement. Throughout this course we've been learning about equity issues in assessment of language learners. One of the main themes includes how to effectively design assessment for linguistically and culturally diverse students. But first, I'd like to talk about some of the key concepts in discussing assessment. Number 1, what is the difference between a test and an assessment? While many people use these terms interchangeably, Brown and Abiwickrama define a test as a formal procedure, usually administered within strict time limitations, to sample the performance of a test taker in a specified domain. Tests are simply measurement tools that fall under the umbrella of assessment. Assessment includes all instances of formal and informal observations of students' performance and ability. In this way, all tests are assessments, but not all assessments are tests. Number 2, constructs. A construct is any theory, hypothesis, or model that attempts to explain observed phenomenon in one's universe of perceptions. In test terms, this is the specific definition of an ability, such as fluency or listening comprehension. A construct is what a test is built around. It's what you want to find out about your student. Number 3, practicality. This is the extent to which resources and time available to design, develop, and administer a test are manageable and feasible. According to this definition, standardized tests are very practical because of the uniform way in which they're administered and graded. However, just because a test is practical does not mean that it's a good test. Which leads me to one of the most important concepts in assessment. Number 4, reliability. A test that is reliable is consistent and dependable over time and/or across different groups of people. Some principles of a reliable test include having clear directions and uniform rubrics for scoring and evaluating, allowing for consistent inter- and intra-rater scoring, and containing test items that are unambiguous to the test taker. Reliable tests consider a variety of influential factors such as the student, the scorer, the environment in which the test is administered, and even the test itself. Coupled with reliability, number 5, validity is also key to test design. Validity is the extent to which inferences made from assessment results are appropriate, meaningful, and useful in terms of the purpose of the assessment. In other words, did the test items test what they claim they were going to test? For example, if you are testing a student's listening comprehension, allowing him or her to draw a picture or even respond in their native language would help to increase a test result's construct validity. We want to isolate the construct we're testing as much as possible. Asking a student to write an essay response to a listening comprehension assessment would be invalid because it would test the wrong construct. One important note, though, is that it's impossible to make a 100% reliable and valid assessment. But if serious efforts are made to address issues that may hinder reliability and validity, the assessment can be appropriate for most students. Finally, number 6, the effect of assessments on classroom teaching and learning, or washback, is an important concept to consider in test design. Before giving an assessment, teachers and administrators should not only ask what constructs are we testing for, but also what will we do with the results? What's the point? Assessments should be designed to inform future instruction. If students do poorly on a test, this could signify that there may be an issue with the teacher's instructional approach, or it could also expose gaps in student learning that need to be addressed. Washback can be positive or negative. In addition to positively influencing teaching and learning, Brown and Abiwickrama describe a positive washback effect as one that offers learners a chance to adequately prepare, gives learners feedback that enhances their language development, is more formative than summative in nature, and provides conditions for peak performance by the learners. Conversely, teaching to the test and cram courses, as well as simply giving a letter grade or numerical score, usually provide negative washback because after the test, there's no feedback to help improve teacher instruction or student learning. Okay, so now that we've looked at some of the key terms associated with assessment, let's take a look at some of the issues one should consider in testing linguistically and culturally diverse learners. An ongoing theme throughout many education courses here at DePaul is that languages and their different varieties are all fundamentally equal. A young child can just as easily learn English, Japanese, Spanish, or Swahili. Also, no language is superior at expressing ideas and feelings. Language is dynamic, always changing and adapting to the needs of its speakers. What makes one language variety appear as if it's better than another is the power structure at play in the society. These language factors can have a significant impact on the outcome of an assessment. Students that don't speak the standard dialect of the people who make the tests, i.e., those who speak a white, upper-middle-class version of American English, their performance on assessments is likely to be lower than those students for whom it was designed for. In many cases, especially for English language learners, content-based assessments turn into tests of English language proficiency, which really invalidate the results. Other factors, such as cultural background knowledge and the way different languages categorize and interpret the world, can negatively influence test results. One way to combat this is to lower the linguistic demands of test items, with all potential interfering variables being mediated. For instance, one effective way to decrease linguistic complexity is through the use of picture-cued test items. Or students could use their native language to demonstrate understanding of content. Though, Bastera, Trumbull, and Solano Flores caution that it's only when a student's relative language proficiency in both languages has been assessed can an informed decision be made about the language of assessment. Moreover, if students don't receive balanced bilingual instruction, test results may not be valid or reliable if the language of assessment differs from that of instruction. So with these issues in mind, I'd like to leave you with 3 short recommendations for teachers of linguistically diverse students. Number 1, get to know your students. Get to know their specific academic needs that have to do with both assessment and instruction. Understanding your students goes a long way in designing tests that are valid and reliable for your individual learners. Next, encourage students to reach out to you if they need help with academic language or the language of assessment. While you may have to explicitly teach this is an essential part of test preparation so that when test day arrives, students can focus more on the content being tested rather than the linguistically complex wording. And last, understand that a test is limited in what it can tell you about an English language learner's ability. Because of this, it is best to provide a variety of ongoing, low-stakes alternatives in assessment. These could include performance-based assessments like portfolios, journals, holding conferences and interviews with students, as well as self and peer assessments. So I hope that you have a better understanding now of the general concepts of assessment, an idea of how to address equity issues in the assessment of language learners. Thanks for listening.